So, on today's podcast, we talk about my 7 marketing laws, why they exist, why you need them, and even some hints, tips, and strategies and tactics to make your own and to infuse them into your life and business that basically guarantee your results. And so, without further ado, I'm going to stop bumping my guns in the intro. Let's cue the no, I'm going to stop bumping my guns in the part of me talking. Now let's cue the intro and let's get into me bumping my gums about the 7 marketing laws. So here's the intro and let's get into the episode. Well, welcome back to another episode, which, by the way, completely unrelated to you, but I really love my in-person studio with the behind the scenes. But what I love even more is recording my own podcast here. I just feel like I'm having a conversation in my living room, and I love it so much more. So if you don't like what it looks like, I'm sorry. I'm sticking to this because sitting in this chair and recording podcasts is so much more fun, and it has nothing to do with today's episode. But that's completely okay because I'm going to tie it in right now because today's episode is about marketing laws. My 7 marketing laws, why they exist, what you can do to remind yourself of them, an overview of them, and then how you can make your own and apply these into your life. So first, why do I have marketing laws? Well, I'm not young, but I'm not old. I've been an entrepreneur since roughly 2009, and prior to that, I was in the United States Marine Corps. And when I started as an entrepreneur, I fell into the trap of everybody else. I was strategies and tactics, and I was transactions all day. And on paper, I had a whole lot of success, but in life results, I had a whole lot of failure. And I had basically spent 5 years being an entrepreneur, creating more collateral damage than I ever created positive results in the world, because it was really, really simple for me. You only mattered if I paid you money, if you paid me money. Like that was it. Like that, it was blinders on. It was transactional as can be. It was not good. I am not proud of it. And the only reason these laws exist is because I got to learn a very painful, valuable lesson that I hope nobody else has to learn. And that was that if you do business the wrong way, you don't have a business. And that's what happened to me. And it caused a lot of hell and a lot of grief and a lot of pain and a lot of stress and a lot of lost money. But I started to pay attention and look at the world differently. And it took me losing everything to get there. And in doing so, I had this gift. And this gift was I got to be a consultant behind the scenes of all these successful companies. And I'm talking all the way up to billions and billions of revenue. And in that lens, I had this perspective of how broken everything was. And I got to see the other side of how everything worked when it was done correctly. And the craziest part is I would go into these companies, I'd go into these businesses, and all the ones that were easy, all the ones that worked, all the ones where the team were congruent and aligned, all the ones where the founders like literally were the happiest people ever, no stress, like they were all built on principles, and they were all built around the same ideas that we exist as a company to help people. And yes, making money is a part of our business, but it's not the only part of our business. People are a part of our business. And I was like, God, that's what I want. Like that's what I want. That's what I've been trying to build. The problem was I was on the internet. I was doing it like everybody else was doing it. And I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And so I sat down and I challenged myself and I said, okay, let me take credit cards off the table. Let me take transactions off the table. And every day you give me 100 people, like 100 dream people that I could help and I could work with, but I can't talk about credit cards. What are the laws or what are the principles that I could ensure that every single time I have an interaction, every single time I have a conversations, every single time I meet somebody, every single time they hear from me, every single time anything has to do with me, that they basically feel exactly how I want them to feel. And at the culmination of that, I wrote my 7 marketing laws. And I've had these 7 marketing laws for probably 8 years now. And I've looked at them, I've tweaked them. I haven't added any, I haven't subtracted any. I've just made them clear. And these are the laws that I use every single day to hold myself accountable. Is this how I'm being with my team? Is this how I'm being with my customers? Is this how I'm being with people who consume my content? Is this how I'm being with people who DM me? Is this how I'm being with contractors? Is this how I'm being in B2B deals? Like everywhere. Is this how my team is operating with our customers? Is this how my customers feel? Like all of it are our guiding principles of how we do business. Because at the end of the day, My business is not built on how much revenue I make. My business is built on the reputation of everybody who's ever had an experience with my business. And when I understood that, and I got to see that happen at scale, and that be the reason that somebody built $100 million company and $1 billion company, it made so much sense to me. And I was just sad it took me money to see it, because whether I ever make a dollar again or not, this is how I want people to feel and how I want them to act. And so for me, my marketing laws are my guiding principles. They're the things that I come back to when I'm stuck, when I don't know what to do, when I don't know how to respond, when I'm frustrated in the business. I always come back here. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times when I come back here, the answer is waiting in front of me in crystal clarity for where I should spend my time. And so my intention today is to share with you my 7 marketing laws and very quickly what they mean. And then my invitation for you is to either take these as your own or make your own that are your guiding principles, that are your foundation. Let's call them your code of conduct for how you're going to do business. And I want you to make them. I want you to start them. I want you to start using them, because these are the things that in the long game of business create the results that we want. And by me having these 7 marketing laws in my life and in my business, I constantly have a barometer to check myself if what I'm doing is correct. And that's not because the internet said so, or because I got comments or didn't get comments, or because I got likes or didn't get likes. No, it's because I said these things are important and these are the things that matter to me and that are aligned to me. And here's what's funny. When I started measuring that way, likes didn't matter, comments didn't matter, sales didn't matter. But then as a byproduct, all of those things went up. And so there's always deeper levels to this game. And I have found that operating on principles supersede all the bullshit that's happening, but also waterfalls out into the rest of it. And yes, can I go design short form content that's going to get views? Maybe. Is that aligned with some of these laws? No. Can I take some of these laws into consideration when I'm designing short form content? Yes. Do the combination of those always work? Fuck yes. And so these are mine. These are important to me. Every business I own, every business I consult, every business I mentor, everyone I coach, they hear these. I spout these. I'm probably like one of the most aggressive dictators when it comes to these, because these are what truly matter for me. So these are the 7. They're in no particular order, but I want to share with them. And as I share them, I want you to hear yourself in them and ask yourself a couple simple questions. Like when I say it, to be like, God, that's me. That feels good to me. What is missing? What would make it feel better? Or that doesn't feel good to me. And if there's ones that I say that feel good to you, take them. If there's ones that I say that are missing something, add them for you. If I don't say some and you think some, write them down and make them yours. But the way that I look at these is these are the laws. Like this is the constitution of how I do business, which means every event, every podcast, every course, every social interaction, every meeting, anyone with me, anyone on my team, anyone in my ecosystem, anywhere, these laws are where we start. These are how we want you to feel. These are the actions that we take. This is how we think so that we can create it. So law number 1, you've heard me say this one before. Everyone needs to feel seen, loved, heard, and respected. So I made some tweaks to this one. And law number 1 is treat everyone with respect and value, regardless of whether they do business with you. So treat everyone with respect and value, regardless of whether they do business with you. And I will give you one stat in this one. 86% of marketing is word of mouth, and the average consumer gives 8 to 10 brand recommendations or non-recommendations, whether you realize it or not. And this law is what determines what they say and how well they say it. Because what I have learned is that if you look in every business I own, almost all of our revenue comes from non-customers. Referrals, sharing our content, engaging on social. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like they can only help me, or I can help them, or they can only learn from me, or I can learn from them as if they pay me money, because that's not true. My job is to empower entrepreneurs to ethically scale. And if that includes a value exchange to speed up the process, great. But if it doesn't change the game. But no matter what, no matter whether you give me $1, 100, 1,000, a million, or 10 million, I want to treat you the same. I want you to feel respected. I want you to feel valued. I want you to feel seen, heard, loved, the end. That's marketing law number 2. Number 1. Marketing law number 2 is focus on building long-term relationships, not just one-night stands. And this one is really, really simple for me. It's really easy to get wrapped up in transactions. It's really easy to get wrapped up into right now. But I learned this lesson a long time ago as an entrepreneur. A no is not a no forever. It's just a no for right now. That doesn't mean a no, I don't want to speak to you, or no, I don't need support. What that means is no, I'm not ready, but I would still love your support. And for me, this one is very, very important. I care about every single person I meet. I care about every single person I talk to. I care about every customer, everybody. I care about them. I am not interested in collecting notches on my bedpost. I'm interested in collecting relationships, real ones, valuable ones. And the only way to do that is to focus on the long game. And so I don't take things personally. I don't get upset. If you don't want to buy my program, great. I love you. It was probably the best choice because it was the one for you, but I still want to help you. And so my marketing law number 2 for me is always focusing on building long-term relationships and not one-night stands. Marketing law number 3, engage in two-way conversations with your customers and potential customers rather than just talking at them. So my summarized version of this is engage in two-way conversations and not one-way lectures. But let me just say this really clearly. Our customers owe us nothing, absolutely nothing. Just because I put content into the world, just because I make courses, doesn't mean my shit doesn't stink and they should just trust me. It doesn't mean because when I post a post, they should buy. It doesn't mean when I write a sales page, they owe me their money. It doesn't mean when I release event tickets that they should buy. No, none of that fucking matters. All that matters is that I'm a human and that I'm not a dictator, I'm not on a pedestal, and I'm no different than you. I'm just in a different situation. And regardless of any of those things, if you ever take the time to invest in me, I will for sure as shit take the time to invest in you. And so this one is engaging in two-way conversations, not one-way lectures, is ensuring that I am crystal clear on who pays my bills, on who pays my family bills, and what really matters. And what really matters is how people feel. And if all I focus on is transactions, and every time somebody says no to me, cutting them out of my life, well, not to mention, am I not going to succeed in business? I'm not going to have many friends. I'm sure as shit not making them feel valued and adding any value to the conversation, but I'm also hurting the long game. And so this one is really, really simple to me. If I take the time to invest out into the world, that's on me. But if you take the time to invest in me, yes, I sure as shit owe you to invest back. And when I say this, I mean this because I see people all the time. George, I want more Instagram comments. I want more followers. And I was like, well, when are you going to start responding to the ones that you have? Well, that doesn't matter. Nobody fucking owes you anything. Well, I want more people to respond to my emails. I'm like, did you respond to theirs? You're like, no, I didn't check that inbox. We are human beings. Human beings require connection. We require safety in order to do things. And if you think that if somebody is unsure about buying your course or program, and then they shoot you an email and you never respond, that that's going to make them sure, then you've lost the game. If you think that they should figure it out on their own, you've lost the game. No matter how much money somebody is investing in you, whether it's $1, whether it's $10, $100, $1,000, what they need underneath it is to feel safe. And in order to feel safe, you need to have a relationship. Well, in order to have a relationship, it needs to be two ways and not one way. And so for me, my law number 3 is engage in two-way conversations, not one-way lectures. Marketing law number 4, pay close attention to what your customers say and do, and use that better information to understand their needs and preferences. So I've said this one before as learn or serve with every action you take, but we chunk that one down. But when I say pay close attention to what your customers say and do, and there's a typo, also what they don't say and do, use that information to better understand their needs and preferences. And where this comes from is that I failed a lot in business is because I got attached to the business. I get attached to the results or non-results. I get attached to what it looked like or didn't look like, rather than just making adjustments to try to put it back into the world. And so when I say this, what I'm really, really saying is spend more time thinking and watching than you do just guessing and building. And so if I'm posting every day on Instagram for a week and everybody's engaging with my content, and then all of a sudden 3 days in a row, nobody engages, it's not time to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but it's time to ask a question. Did I change my content? Did I tweak something? Did something happen in the market? Not taking it personally, but making adjustments, because people's actions, their words, their lack of actions, and their lack of words say a lot of things. But if we are not truly connected at the core to what's happening in our ecosystem, we can't make adjustments to our ecosystem. And so the reason I have this so focused on customers and people that consume your content is because that's the best information that you'll ever have. But a lot of the times we'll struggle in one of those areas and we'll go outside of that area to try to find an answer. The answer's not outside of that area, it's in that area. So number 4 is pay close attention to what your customers say and do, and also what your customers don't say and do, and use that information to better understand their needs and preferences. Which brings us to number 5. Take ongoing action to learn more about your audience and find ways to serve them more effectively. And in the name of business, in the name of entrepreneurship, this is find a problem, create a solution, sell the solution. That doesn't come from thin air. That doesn't come from guessing. That doesn't come from Google. That comes from listening. That comes from being in relationship with my customers, listening to the things that they're saying, listening to the questions that they're asking me, and then utilizing that information to either learn more about them or turn around and create content or courses or curriculum to support them with that information I learned. And so that one is really, really simple. All my success that I've had in business has been basically come from asking my customers what they need, listening, paying attention, and then actually creating it. And that one is huge for me, which brings us to law number 6. Whenever possible, make your interactions with customers personal and meaningful. So I had this one summarized at if it can be personal, it must be. And what I simply mean by that is that human touch is the only thing that can never be replicated. No robot, no chat GPT, no AI, no nothing. It can't. And human connection is the core of basically our existence. We are tribal creatures. We require people. And in business, and it doesn't matter the scale of your business, one of the quote unquote hacks for years has been personalization. I think personalization should be a requirement. And if you tell me that you don't have the time, I don't think you have the right to be in business, because who am I to tell somebody who's investing money in me, who's investing in learning from me, who's investing their dreams in me and their hopes in me, that I don't have time? Then you shouldn't be investing in me in the first place. And so for me, this one's really, really simple. Whenever it can be personal, it must be. Which then brings me to law number 7. And if I have to say there's one law that trumps them all, that I believe in, that is the most important one, it is this one. And this one is really, really simple. Do not leave anybody behind. Strive to include and serve all of your customers or potential customers to the best of your ability. This is everything for me. This is where I've built models called the 4 Paths to the Peer. This is where customer journey came from. This is where my entire career came from. But if you take the time to give me yours, I will take the time to give you mine until you no longer want it. It doesn't matter to me. You might leave my mastermind. You might not be my client anymore. You might have bought a cooking course from me 11 years ago, but if you are still here, I am still here, and I will not leave you behind. I will not kick you off the boat. I will not tell you to nope. I will come help you. I will come guide you. I will come lead you. Because at the end of the day, I know that my success boils down to the amount of people I help and the amount of people that I'm connected to, whether they ever give me my credit card or not. And this law is huge for me. Just because somebody's not a customer anymore doesn't mean they're not important. They still invested in you. They still took a chance. They still leaped, and they still deserve just as much love and attention as somebody who's paying you today. And so those are my 7 marketing laws. And so here is my recommendation. Come up with your own, use mine, and take these seriously. These are the things that legacies are built on. These are the things that are going to go on my headstone, not my bank account's balance. These are the things that are going to make people show up and support my family long after I'm gone. These are the reasons that people have positive experiences. These are the things that guide me and my team. Like, these are important. These are important. And they're important because regardless of what I do, any business I stack on top of these is guaranteed to work. Oh, I'm launching event tickets. Well, let me make sure I treat everyone with respect and value. Let me make sure I'm focusing on the long game, not the short one. Let me make sure everybody has a way to communicate with us 2-way. Let me watch what they're doing and make sure I'm learning. Let me ask them questions to see if I can better support them. Let's make it personal and meaningful, and let's make sure nobody feels left behind, whether they buy our ticket or not. And if I take those 7 laws and I think about launching an event or launching a product or launching a service with those 7 laws, it plugs every hole in the bucket that could cause any chance of me not succeeding. And that's why they're important. And so I take these and I build these on top of my Lightkeeper quadrants. So this is really, really simple. My Lightkeeper quadrants are basically my design for me to be the best functioning machine, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And then when I build those in, and then I take these principles, and these are what guide my actions every day, it doesn't matter what I touch, I win. And that's why these are so important to me. So whether it's one, whether it's two, whether it's three, take however many you want and use them. Add your own to the list. Don't make them big. You should have somewhere between 5 and 10 laws. And I mean laws. Like, you should be sued if you don't follow them and give your team permission to fire you on how you and your team do business, because these are the foundation of everything that you touch. These will make every video better. These will make every podcast better, every interview better, every course better, as long as you hold yourself accountable to implementing them and pursuing them in excellence. And so that's what I got for today's episode. And on the next episode, I'm going to take 3 of them and I'm going to break down how I put them into practice in business just for fun. You don't get to pick the 3. I get to pick the 3. But I'm going to open that loop right now because I'm going to share some tips and some tricks and some fun things with you. But regardless, and all that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And just remember, if you listen to it and do nothing, I can't help. But if you listen to this and do something, it's guaranteed to help. So don't let this become shelf help. And I would also, just as a caveat, keep your eyes peeled. And if you are not on the waiting list for our event, go get on the waiting list for our event as soon as possible. It's linked on my website, mindofgeorge.com. But we're getting ready to open event tickets, and we already pre-sold to alumni. Half the VIPs are gone, and we haven't even opened them yet. And so the moment they open, they are going to go. And so I'm just going to say this now. I love you, but I don't want to leave you behind. If you're even remotely interested, go to mindofgeorge.com, click on the event tab, and put your email in so you can be on the waiting list, or shoot me a DM on Instagram that says event waiting list, and we will add you to the list. That way you have a chance. So that's what I got for today in today's episode. So I love you all. I'm going to go pound my coffee. I'm going to get back to work, and I hope you have an incredible day. So remember that relationships will always beat algorithms, especially the one with yourself. And either way, you ain't got to stay here, but there's nothing left. So you should go listen to another podcast episode, or listen to the outro, or go write your laws, or go do something. But either way, here's the outro.